criteria from the church's perspective, from the Christian side. This brand, we're calling it the Christian vote. Basically, these are the values that we are expecting people to take heed of when they go to election. I'm not going to that. That's the essence of this event. So Bishop Magaya will take us through that. But let me also hasten to say that we had a two-day national conference in which various delegates from across the country sat, deliberated, and came up with a position, concrete position, which culminated in this event. Today, the delegates left yesterday for their various home areas. But with us today here, of course, is two to three province flanking bishops. So from my right here, we've got Pastor Guthrie Kwanzula for Zimbabwe Divine Destiny Harare province. And that's Bishop Magaya, the sender, Bishop Anselmo Magaya, the executive director of the Zimbabwe Divine Destiny. Next to him is Reverend Christopher Ngomo, Pastor Christopher Ngomo from Bulawayo province, the Zimbabwe Divine Destiny, Bulawayo province. He would have gone yesterday, but he waited for this. And lastly, at the end of what Reverend Busy-Work Musisinyani, again, chairman for the Marsh West Zimbabwe Divine Destiny chapter. So, without further ado, I'll hand over to Bishop Magaya, but we will entertain, questions and further interactions after the presentation of the statement, so that we can get, issue clarity and everything.
Thank you very much, Brother Shadrach, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to this momentous event, as we have said, to inform the nation the position of the church with regards to 2018 elections. We would like to inform the nation that the forthcoming elections can only be different if we all vote freely, in peace, but more importantly, with godly conscience, which behooves us select leadership on godly principle basis. An election is so critical that a voter ought to exercise his or her vote to determine and to usher in the political changes necessary to move the nation forward. Hence, the need to demand certain values and conduct principles, as well as the discipline required for any political player to be considered as a potential candidate. Our nation has no economy but vestiges of an economy. There is no local currency to talk of, and the reason is very clear: we have killed our economy. There is no need to smokescreen it any longer by sanctions, excuse, or anything else, because if we had managed our resources prudently, exercising good governance with godly fear, that forbids reaping from where one did not sow, and genuine love for fellow citizens, Zimbabwean economy could have awakened with industries revived. Chief, of course, among the agents of economic destruction is corruption and bad governance that rewards thievery and ineptitude, yet punishing honesty and integrity. It is therefore not surprising that we have no arrest to date, despite the looting and plunder that have killed our key parastatals, not to talk about the chaos reigning in the mining divisions, where billions vanish and no one is accountable, starting right from the top, except to shed crocodile tears. Now, kleptomania, has besieged the public sector. And this has given birth to a unique breed of corruption permeating the entire society. For the record, ladies and gentlemen, we inherited a viable railway system, a viable ADA, a competitive Zimbabwe, just to mention a few. But all these and a lot more quasi state institutions in a perpetual sorry state. As if that is not enough, we still have an executive that has got an insatiable appetite for endless constitutional amendments to try and make every sector, including the judiciary, subservient to them, totally ignoring the sanctity of the separation of powers. Now, you know very well that, there is much talk about amendment number 1, where they are seeking to amend the constitution, where the constitution is still steaming hot from the pot, a constitution that was overwhelmingly voted for, and common stands taken to actually state the fact that there's got to be separation of power. We are also ashamed that each time that the nation goes for election, violence ensues. Hate speech and threats become a daily occurrence. We have members of political parties bragging they kill and nothing will happen to them because the police and army are on their side. You know very well, from the Bikita West by-election, there was a youth zealot who actually publicly stated that a given political party kills, and they do claim that the army and the police belong to them. Now, this is very sad that this is what's actually happening in the very presence of top government officials. And we feel very strongly that that young man should have been arrested, as he descended from the podium, for actually dragging the army and the police into disrepute. Justice is denied to victims of political violence, whilst perpetrators go scot-free. We have come to dread elections as a nation because of mayhem and the threat to life that accompany the plebiscite. Yet for other civilized nations, it is a time for serious introspection and redefining the economic and political trajectories of their countries. It is against this background that the Christian church, which has the majority of the populace, are saying is not going to be voting as usual come 2018. The church must, as of necessity, reserve the right to determine who presides over the political office of this nation. How credible and impeccable is one's conduct. This time around, we're going to check. What is it that one is known for? What is it that this party is known for? What is it that this group of people are known for? What value does one stand for? What is their past record? And is there any iota of godly fear in them? The paradigm indeed has changed. We demand accountability from political office holders who, by the way, are public servants. Gone are the days when politicians lie through their teeth, promising to deliver, and none of those things that they do promise come to pass. We are therefore launching a campaign under the banner Christian Vote. Why Christian Vote? Number one, because demographics vindicate us that we are in the majority. At least 80% of people in Zimbabwe profess to be Christians. At least 80% every Sunday, every Saturday, or whatever the date of their worship, they gather, millions of Zimbabwe to worship God. We are the single largest constituency in this nation. And with massive mobilization, I can assure you that the church can determine the kinds of politicians that we want to be candidates. Number two, because Christ-centered values are the only acceptable standards to the extent that leaders in our beloved country are sworn into office using the Bible as a measurement of commitment and conduct. And guess what? That Bible is God's voice. And so we are not ushering anything new, as it were, but just to rallying the nation to its conscience. Ladies and gentlemen, the following are the 4 vices we are saying the masses should never vote for. Number 1, do not vote for corrupt-prone leaders. There are people that we have known to be corrupt. We are rated top, but we have not had much prosecution with regards to this. Number 2, bad governance and maladministration. Poor service delivery, typhoid, still alive today in an epoch where civilization has long dealt with this disease. Number 3, violence and hate speech. There are people that flourish on violence. There are parties that flourish on violence. And once violence is taken off, they crumble. And this time around, by God's grace, violence is not going to be the basis any longer, because we will mobilize masses not to vote for anybody who is known to be violent, who advocates violence, who presides over violence, who actually mastermind and instigate violence. Number 4, abuse of rule of law, continued interference into the judiciary sector. Any political party that entertains hopes of getting into office come 2018 had better align their candidates with these principles or risk losing out. Because going forward, we are pushing the Christian vote campaign with vigor. This philosophy and vision will be pushed from the pulpits, from every Christian gathering. Zimbabwe Divine Destiny is rolling out a massive campaign across the country and reaching out to prayer groups to commit this program to the Lord. There will be different activities to be held in various provinces, and at some point in June, I'm sure, we will actually organize a national convergence in Harare to rally masses around this campaign. Gone are the days when intimidation, violence, and vote buying ruled the roost. Shape up and endear yourself, your party, to godly values system, or meet the fate. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Thank you. There we are. I think we'll allow this session for further interactions, points of clarity, questions as you wish. But may I also suggest that we identify ourselves first of all, the media houses that we represent, wherever we come from, and then fill your question. Thank you.
Just some clarification. My name is Anna Chibamu. I'm a freelance journalist. You spoke about launching a campaign called the Christian Vote 2018 elections. Is it only ZDD, or you're going to consider other churches, other denominations?
Thank you very much, Anna. ZDD has just triggered the process. What we have talked about, be assured, is what a majority of Christians have been hungering for. So what ZDD has just done is to develop this brand. What ZDD has just done is to actually trigger this process. But we are going to ensure that the entire Christian society is going to be a party to this. And by the way, Zimbabwe Divine Destiny is not one church denomination. It is Christians, that are coming from different church organizations and different mother bodies. You have Zimbabwe Divine Destiny pastors from EFZ, from Zimbabwe Council of Churches. So as individuals, they're coming to make up ZDD. So we will soon be embarking on campaigning and approaching various Christians. So anybody who thinks that this is a small program, risk being in demise.
My name is Lucy Yasini. Bishop, we've had political party leaders stating that the church should get out of politics. And from the tone of your presentation, it might be interpreted to be like you are entering into the political arena. Are there any supporting scripture verses that can support the church being involved in politics?
Right, the entire Bible, right from Genesis to Revelations. God would never divorce himself from politics, because politics is all about how people are governed. And so God is very concerned that people are governed with justice and love and peace. And so when you read the Bible, the entire book of Amos is talking about the rulers having to abandon unjust conduct. The Bible actually says in Amos chapter number 5, verse 21 to 24, let justice flow like an ever-ending stream, and let righteousness prevail. The Bible goes further to say in Ezekiel chapter number 45, your princes of Israel, in this case, in this context, princes of Zimbabwe, stop violence, stop dispossessing my people. So these are the prophets talking to the rulers. So there are numerous portions of scripture that actually indicate that the church can never leave politicians to run an open check with people's lives. So yes, we are getting into politics, not in the sense of ZDD being a political party that will stand for office, but we will determine the vote. We will ensure there is transition into a new epoch of economic prosperity, peace, justice, and political stability, because we will campaign through the churches that they should not vote for anybody who is violent and corrupt.
You can't be done journalists, are you? I guess that's all, huh?
Okay. I have a question. Do you have any party or any party that you are running in line for in the 2018 elections?
This particular press conference is not necessarily meant to endorse any political party as of now. We will look at what will happen, how people will behave, how they will conduct themselves, and what sort of candidates they will advance, both for presidential, parliamentary, and council. And as we note what sort of candidates they are, then we will be clear to say, we don't vote for this political party, don't vote for this candidate. So what we want to do is to put parties under pressure to make sure that whichever candidate, be it presidential, that candidate should be competent to ensure that come after 2018, they will preside over recovery. They will preside over unity. They will preside over justice. And if we know that this candidate is not going to be like that, and if they have any record, then we will not hesitate to advise accordingly. But I know people in Zimbabwe are sharp enough to know who is corrupt. Masses are sharp to interpret and to determine their destiny.
Bishop, my name is Kai Jones. I'm a freelance journalist. Other than you only being vocal in terms of challenging or pressing authorities to be accountable, are there any other churches which you are working with? Because of late we have seen you being the only one.
Well, I think if you've noted in the past, it could be in isolated episodes. You will discover that there's been an emergence of the voice of the church, which emergence of the voice of the church we are now having to harness, to coordinate, to ensure that we're going to be speaking with one voice. I can assure you, we speak to some of these church leaders, and in some cases in not so public forums, I will assure you that what we are advocating for right now, there is no church that advocates for violence and corruption. So this time around, you will see more visibility and more audibility from those that you have not heard. So yes, in the past, they could have been what you're talking about, but I'm assuring you right now, you're going to be hearing a lot more from different provinces, and we will drive this agenda together.
Okay.
My other question is, the church in Zimbabwe has been described to be a bit on the laid back. The voice of the church has been quiet on a number of issues due to being compromised. What's your take on that?
Yes, but what we're doing right now, I don't know how you would rate this. This product, this campaign that we are launching, I don't know whether you've ever heard it from the church, and it could be so, but I can assure you that this time around, it's not going to be the same. I will tell you the reasons normally why people, why the church, why some sections of the church have not been that vocal. Number one, of course, the system has ridden on fear. People are afraid of abductions. We have had Pastor Ivan being arrested, Pastor Patrick being arrested. So the system has mastered the art of wanting to eliminate those that they think are vocal. So the church is also afraid, some sections of the church. But also erroneous theological persuasion has been the basis for actually not wanting to engage in issues of justice. There's some people that think that politics is for politicians. Yet we are talking about bread and butter issues. We are talking about hard currents that has been flying out of this nation, and we now have bond notes whose value is actually dwindling. So this is all about politics, and we cannot leave this to politicians. So I'm saying, erroneous theological persuasion. People think that we cannot do this because the Bible says, we are just the light, we cannot involve ourselves. But I've just made reference to the scriptures that in abundance, that the church can be involved in these matters. But also, one of the reasons, which is very sad, is that there could be some of the church leaders whose lifestyles are not above reproach. And what we are appealing is that let us live lives that are right. Let us walk uprightly. And when we walk uprightly, our integrity will become our ammunition. And when we don't walk upright, we also give the system ammunition to threaten us.
I guess that's all. Pastors, anyone want to say a word, or shall we end this one? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.